Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dewi Aulia Andi Bachtiar from class A. So today I will present about material language teaching theories. So there are three types in here: approaches, methods, and technique. Next slide. Table of content. So there are 11 table of content here. The first one is grammar translation method or GTM, direct method, audiolingual method, total physical response or CPR, communicative language teaching or CLT, content task, participatory instruction, cooperative learning, discovery learning, project, problem-based learning, project-based learning, and multiple intelligence. Next slide. So the first one is grammar translation method or GTM. The definition about GTM is focuses on translation and grammar rules. So GTM is a traditional language teaching approach that emphasizes deep learning of grammatical structure through the translation of written text. It main focus on grammar rules, sentence analysis, and translation from the target language into the native language. So there are two types in here, classical and modern. So classical focuses on translating classical literature, emphasizing grammar and sentence structure. And modern adapts some communicative aspect while still focusing on grammar and translation. For example, translating a passage and analyzing its structure. So a teacher provide a foreign language story and ask students to analyze its sentence structure and translate the sentence into Indonesian and explain the grammatical rules behind them. Next slide. Direct method. So definition about direct method is uses only the target language, no translation. So the direct method emphasizes the exclusive use of the target language during the learning process. No native language is used in the classroom, encouraging students to listen, speak, read, and write directly in the language being learned. So there are two types in here, immersive and naturalistic. So immersive, students are fully engaged the target language through direct interaction, and naturalistic use real life context and situation are as the basis for learning. So for example, teaching vocabulary through picture and real life example. So the teacher introduce new vocabulary through picture and direct action. Then encourage students to discuss the topic without using any Indonesian translation. Next, next slide is audiolingual method. So definition about audiolingual method is repetitive drilling of sentence patterns. So the audiolingual method focus on learning through repetition and listening practice. It emphasize oral practice, repetitive sentence pattern drills, and mimicking the internal language structure. There are two types in here, intensive drilling and modeling. So intensive, repeating sentence patterns to build language habits, and modeling, using dialects as example for students to imitate. For example, a student repeats short dialect with correct intonation. So the teacher conduct rhythmic sentence drill or short dialogue so that student can imitate proper intonation and sentence structure. Next slide. Total physical response or TPR. So the definition about TPR is combines language with physical movement. So TPR is a method that integrates physical movement into language learning. It links verbal commands with physical action, helping students grammar and understand vocabulary and language structure through sensory experiment. So there are two types in here, commands based and movement games. So command-based activity using verbal instruction followed by physical action, and movement games or interactive games combining physical activity and games for fun learning. For example, students follow commands like jump with action. And another example here is the teacher give the command walk, and students respond by walking around the class. And this is especially effective for action-related vocabulary. Next, next is Next is communicative learning teaching or CLT. So definition about CLT is emphasize real communication. So CLT emphasize students to ability to communicate effectively and meaningfully in real life situation. It focuses on language as uses as a tool for social interaction rather than just measuring grammar. There are two types is task-based and information gap. So task-based interaction using communication tasks like role play or real life simulation, and information gap activity where students have different information and must communicate to complete the task. For example, role playing as a buyer and a seller, and students perform a role play as a buyer and seller in a market setting and using the target language to interact naturally. Next slide. Content, tasks, and participatory instruction. So definition about this is teacher language through meaningful content and participation. So this approach integrate language teaching with relevant content and tasks that require active student participation. The goal is to learn language through meaningful content and direct involvement in learning activity. So there are three types in here: content-based, task-based, and participatory. So content-based instruction or CBI, teaching language through other subject, for example, history or science. And next is task-based instruction or TBI, prioritizing completion of a specific task that require practical language use. And the last is participatory instruction. So involving students in active learning through group discussion, project, or field work. So for example, discussion and project on environmental issue. So students are assigned a project on environmental topic. They must research, discuss finding in the target language, and create a group report integrating language and content. Next slide. Cooperative learning definition. So, cooperative learning, the definition about cooperative learning is group work to complete shared tasks. So, cooperative learning involves students' collaboration in small groups to complete a task or solve problem. In promotes interaction, share responsibility, and mutual support among group members. So, there are two types in here: structure roles and teamwork. So, structure roles is small group with assigned roles. Each student has a specific role, such as leader, recorder, or presenter. And structured teamwork is a technique like think, pair, share, or guided group discussion. For example, a group write and perform a dialogue. So students are divided into group and asked to create a dialogue in a given topic. Each group member is responsible for different parts of the dialogue and present it together in class. Discovery learning. So definition about discovery learning is learners discover language rules themselves. So, discovery learning encourages students to independently uncover language concept or principles through exploration and reasoning. So the teacher acts as facilitator, providing clue instead of direct answer. So the type is experimentation. So experimentation is student are observation and experimentation to discover language rules, and inquiry based teacher as open-ended question to guide student in discovering answer. For example, identifying grammar pattern from example. So the teacher provide target language sentence without explaining grammar rules and ask students to observe patterns and deduce the rules through group discussion. Next slide. Problem-based learning. So definition about problem-based learning is solving real-world problems using the target language. So PBL place students in complex real-world situation where they must identify problem, research information, and find solution using the target language. It fosters critical thinking and problem-solving skill. The types is case study, solution, project. So case study is real-life situation used for analysis, and problem solving is teamwork on solving a specific issue in depth. For example, creating a proposal for a social issue. So, students are presented with a case involving plastic waste and must create a proposal in the target language to address the issue, including research and a group presentation. Next slide. Project-based learning. So, definition about project-based learning or PBL is learning through real-life project. So, PGBL engage students in comprehensive project that require applying the target language in real and creative context. This project typically involve planning, research, collaboration, and final presentation. The types is short-term and long-term project. So the short is complete in a few weeks or by the end of unit, and long span several months and may integrate multiple subjects. For example, creating an English digital magazine. So students collaborate to create a digital magazine. In the target language, they are responsible for a writing article, gathering image, and designing layout, applying all language skill. Okay, next slide. Multiple intelligence or MI. So definition about multiple intelligence, accommodating in different types of student intelligence. So according to Howard Gardner's MI theory suggests that individual possess different types of intelligence such as linguistic, logical, mathematical, spatial, kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. So, in language learning, this theory encourages a teacher to use diverse strategy that cater to various student strengths. So, there are relevant types. The first one is linguistic, kinesthetic, interpersonal, and etc. So, linguistic is reading, writing, speaking, kinesthetic intelligence, expressing through body movement, for example, drama. And interpersonal intelligence is interaction and group collaboration. So, for example, drama, discussion, and creative writing. So, in a language class, the teacher integrate various activity like group discussion or interpersonal, role play or kinesthetic, and creative writing or linguistic. So allowing all students to shine through their unique strengths. And the last is conclusion. So the 11 language teaching method highlight the importance of using deserved and flexible approaches in language instruction. Each method has its own strengths, whether in grammar focus, communication, physical engagement, or student participation. Therefore, teachers should adapt and combine this method based on learning objectives, student characteristics, and teaching context to create meaningful, active, and enjoyable language learning experiences. So, teacher can select or combine this method based on student needs, learning context, or diverse learning style. I think that's all for my present today. I hope my explanation is clear and I hope you understand. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.